Hi, welcome to tutorial number 28 for CSCI 130 Introduction to Programming here at the University of Wisconsin Parkside. In this tutorial, we will be working with the four next statement that is being introduced in chapter 11 in our textbook, and this is just another repetition statement. So um, as you remember, we have been working with the while loop statement, the do until statements, which are some examples of repetition statements. And in those, when we were using them, we had to remember that we need to declare a variable that we usually call counter. We need to initialize the variable usually to 0, 1, and then we need to increment the counter inside the loop every time that we execute it, so we're like counting. So and then we check for a condition, and then when we meet the condition we stop. So let's suppose we want to do something 5 times, so maybe we introduce a variable counter equals 1, and then every time that we execute the statement we count, we increment counter, now it's 2, then 3, then 4, and then when it reaches 5 then we stop. Okay, so the idea of the for next is doing all of that in just one statement. So the do while, from time to time we got the problem that we were forgetting about initializing the variable or defining the variable or of incrementing the counter. So we will see on figure 1.4 the basic components of the statement. So we start with the keyword for, and then we have a variable, the one that we call the control variable, and then we define the variable, in this case as integer, so we're doing that in the same statement. Then we're initializing that to 2, and then we end with 10, and then step 2, that means the increment of the variable. This is what it means. Counter starts at 2, and then the next value counter, that's what the step says, is going to be 2. So the next value, 2 plus 2 is 4, and then the next one is 6, the next one is 8, and the last one is 10, because that's the one that we're going to finish. Let's see other examples that they present in the textbook. Here we got variable I that starts at 1 and then 100. That means that is going to be that's going to be executed 100 times. And there is something there that will be trivial to say, okay, I starts at 1 and then ends at 100. Step 1, that means it's changing by 1, but we don't need to specify when it increments by 1. On the last example that they present, then it says I starts at 100 and then ends at 1, but we're decrementing. Do you see where it says a step? It says -1, that means it starts at 100, then it's going to be 99, 98, 97, so on until we get into 1. Okay, another example, 7 to 77, so we're counting by 7, so it's going to be 7, 14, 21, 28, and so on until we get into 77. The next example, we start on 20, we're going to add on -20, and we're decrementing by 2, so it's going to be 20, 18, 16, 14, and so on until we get into -20. And I think you can go and check on the other examples, like on the other examples that are there. I mean, I think you can just go and look at the examples that go from 2 and to 20, and then steps 3, so it's going to be 2, 5, 8, 11 until we get into the value that is 20. Okay, so let's have an example in Visual Basic. So I have already here a form. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a button over here. We're just gonna practice something from the for loop, and then I'm gonna use also a label. I'm sorry, a text box. So I'm looking here, text box. Okay, now I'm gonna change the title of the form, and I'm gonna call that for loop practice. Okay, and then my button, I'm gonna call that for loop. Okay, now on my text box, I'm gonna insert some values inside my text box. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select my text box, I'm gonna go with the properties, and then where it says multi-line, I'm gonna change that from false to true, so that will let me have multiple lines there. And then something else that I want to do there, where it says scroll parts, it says none. I'm gonna say both there, and then I'm gonna have something like this. Okay, now I'm gonna double click on my button, and then we're gonna practice. Oops, got something there here before. Okay, you got something there. I'm gonna delete that again. Okay, I'm gonna double click there. Okay, so we want to repeat something, so I'm gonna insert something in my text box. So I'm gonna say for I'm gonna call that counter. For counter equals 1 to 10. Well, I'm gonna put that initially to 5. So look that I have my statement, and it's very simple. So it says for. So look that it did define and initialize the variable someplace else. So it's everything in the for loop. So counter, and then the system. You see when I put that, it says that it's a dim counter as integer. So it's being defined implicit. I don't need to make the definition. So that saves time. So for some people, says, hey, wow, that's better than a while loop. So counter equals 1 to 5, and then how do I know when this loop ends? When we reach the next. So whatever is in between the 4 and the next is what I'm gonna be repeating. So in this case, it's gonna be from 1 to 5. So what I want to do is in my text box 1, I want that text at the numbers. Well, I'm gonna concatenate. So the concatenation is this symbol, the string hello 5 times. So I'm gonna put some spaces before the H and after the O. Then I'm gonna execute it. Let's see how that looks. So I have this, and then I'm gonna click my for loop, and look, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hellos. Okay, so look at that, I have just one hello here, but it says okay, do that 5 times. When I'm putting this symbol, that means it's appending. So this what it means is this: I got the text box 1 dot text equals text box 1 dot text, and then append it just like that. So that means is whatever is in the text box, then this add that string. So F5, then this is what I have, and I'm doing that 5 times. Now remember that this, we can have a shortcut, and then we can put the equal sign over here. So that's the same thing. Now if I want that to happen 10 times, so instead of doing 5, this is very simple, I want that 10 times. So then F5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hellos. Now maybe I want them to be in like in a column in a table. So what I'm gonna say is, okay, when I'm doing this, what about if we also do control characters that new line. Oops, I didn't click. So control characters dot here new line there. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm appending the hello, and then after the hello I want a new line. I want to go to the new line. So let's do this F5, then I click on the for loop. And now what was the difference from before? Well, remember that before we were putting that in this, they were putting one hello up to the other. So now have a hello in a new line. So now they are adding so here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's say that I want to see the numbers instead of the hello. Well, maybe we can do something like this. Let's say that we put the variable counter, and we append counter to the hello, so I don't need to be counting. Okay, so let's do F5. I think that would look nice. And then I do the for loop, and look, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't need to be counting, so they are already there. Okay, so, and again, this is the idea of the for loop. So here again, I'm just gonna change this to 3, then I press F5, and this is what I have. So I said that from 1 to 3. So this is repeating. So this is a repetition. So this is a repetition statement. So again, this is doing that 1 to 3 times. So this is the idea of the for loop. So on the next tutorial, I'm gonna explain how is we're gonna work on the next posting, that is to for the next discussion session.